Hello friends, and thank you to Senior Style Guide for having me again this month as part of your industry education platform. I am Kate. I am the founder and owner of the Photo Editive, a boutique retouch outsourcing company designed for the busy photographer. I am so happy to be joining you today. Can you even believe that summer is coming to a close and we are staring down the busy season that is upon us? I jump on here and most of the time I chat with you about leveraging, scaling, automation, and outsourcing in your business. But today we are going to chat about something completely different. We are going to chat about automation in your retouching and simplifying your processes and workflows. This is likely going to be a 3 to 4 part series, so stay tuned over the next few months. I am all about making things simple, running smooth, and doing repeating tasks in the most efficient way possible. When we create automation in our businesses, we create a space that is calm, it brings joy, and allows us to use the creative part of our brains in a more effective way. Today, we are going to chat about the importance of updating your Adobe software to take advantage of cutting-edge technologies that will help you reduce your time spent when retouching, and you will have amazing results in the process. Are you currently using the Adobe Creative Cloud software and keeping your computers and software updated? This is a critical step in allowing you to reduce the time you spend in front of your computer. Keeping your computer and software updated will not only improve the performance, but the stability and the security of the applications that you are using. Adobe Lightroom is a powerful tool in retouching. It allows us to organize, file, and retouch our images and get them ready for Photoshop. I use this daily in my outsourcing business as I work with clients that I am getting their images ready, and I am going to share some new tips and tricks that are available with the newer versions of Lightroom that will just blow your mind and make such a difference in your images. So let's get started and jump over to my screen and we will get started.
My desktop. So first we're going to take a look at Adobe. So if you're using Adobe Creative Cloud and have a subscription, you should have the Adobe Creative Cloud icon on your computer. And this panel will tell us if we are up to date on all of our software. So I am using the most current versions of Photoshop and Lightroom and Camera Raw. I do recommend updating. Adobe in the last couple of years has come out with a lot of great features, especially using artificial intelligence, which is allowing them to do stuff that years ago we weren't able to do. So I know sometimes it can be a little bit scary to update and it does get a little bit glitchy, but I always find that I'm able to work through things pretty quickly. So making sure that your Adobe software is updated will allow you to have the latest features. The other thing is just making sure that your computer is up to date as well in your software, and then just making sure the specs on your computer can maintain Photoshop. That's actually one of the best things that you can do to increase your productivity and to save yourself time, is to make sure that your computer is running your applications and your Adobe software most efficiently. And the newer the software, the more specs we need. So I'm actually using a new Apple Studio, and it is on the M1 Max, and I have found that I love it, and it has 32 gigabytes of RAM, which has been plenty for Photoshop. I can run both Photoshop and Lightroom pretty heavily at the same time, and I don't have any trouble. So making sure that that computer is your computer is updated so that it's running your software efficiently will save you the most amount of time. So next, we are going to move on to Lightroom, and we'll talk about some new features that are in there, and especially one that I want to show you today that will make a huge difference in getting your images ready for retouch. Okay, so we are in Lightroom, and I've imported some raw images. This is all my photography done in the last probably 5 or 6 years, but some of this you may have seen on my website or in samples. So I've imported some images, and I want to show you just one new feature in Lightroom that I think can benefit everybody, whether you're getting your images ready to be outsourced and for a company to retouch for you, or if you're looking to do it yourself and just looking for ways to maximize Lightroom and use the services that they offer. So here is the original raw image. We'll go into the develop mode. I do have a preset that I have developed as part of my business workflow and for my retouching clients, and it just gives me some settings that I start to go by. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that. I do use a monogram tools on my desk, and so a lot of these values over here you're going to see change without me using my mouse, and I'm just using the tools on my desktop. And that will be for another episode that we have where we talk about different tools and ways to use them in your retouching workflow. So here is my raw image. I've applied my preset. I'm going to make some basic adjustments right now. I'm going to reduce the exposure on the entire image, even though it's making her a little bit darker, and I'm going to reduce the highlights down a little bit and dehaze and get it to a point where I feel like it looks a little bit better. She is darker than I would like, but I want the background dark. So this is where I'm going to show you a new feature that Lightroom's developed in the last couple of updates. And this icon right here is is a mask, and it allows you to select the subject. We can do a couple of things with this, and that's what we're going to go through right now. So the red indicates the area that it is selected, which it can show you how well the AI is working in Lightroom. It really detects everything about the subject right down to her stray hairs, which I love. So I'm going to take and I'm going to brighten her back up and bring down her highlights, especially I'm really watching her face. I'm going to add in a little bit of contrast with the dehaze, and I'm going to get her looking kind of about where I want her skin to be. And I'm going to move out of that. And then I'm also going to select this again. And we are going to invert, and I'm going to deepen the background. I'm going to go back and look at her. Make sure so you can see how I'm adjusting the tones in just her right now, but I can go to my background again. And I want to add some warmth into that. But I can go back to just my subject. And here we are. This is where the original raw started. So you can see probably I did not intend to overexpose this in camera, but it's just the way it came out. I believe it was one of the first in this series, but I really loved the look of her, and so I wanted to go back in. Now I'm being a little more creative in how her skin looks, and so, or how the colors are in this. So keep that in mind, that as I'm retouching and finishing in this, that I'm being a little more creative in the tones in this image, which will allow me to enhance those tones when we get to Photoshop. So that is my favorite new tool in Lightroom, is the ability to select the subject and also to invert and do the background. It also gives you an option to select the sky. When you do that, it's choosing the sky and will allow you to bring back colors that you had captured in the sky that when you worked on your subject were blown out. And then it also has other things, your linear gradients and your radial gradients, which can be used to add depth and light into your image. So take some time, make sure your Lightroom is updated, and play around with this feature. Once you figure it out and you find yourself working quickly with it, it will enhance your images unlike really any other tools that Lightroom has ever offered us. It is really become my favorite tool that Lightroom has to offer. So you can see before I filmed this, I worked on this same image, and you can see it's a little bit different from the first time I worked on it to this time. So you have a lot of control and variation in how you want your images to look. And so you'll see two different versions where I have enhanced using the select background and select subjects tool. So depending on the look that you're going for when you get to Photoshop and for your final image, you can see how that works. So thanks for joining us on this class, and we'll be back next month with some more tips to increase the productivity and speed in your workflow. Have a great afternoon.